Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 9 of 5 in 10. We are getting very close to a milestone of 10 episodes, and we do have a little bit of a surprise for the next one. I will be heading over to Portugal, and Oleg and myself will be looking to record it directly together, not just through a screen such as this one. So keep your eyes peeled. That will be a very exciting addition. Oleg, how are you feeling about today, though?
Can't wait to see you here in person. It's been a wee while. So, yeah, let's get cracking.
It has been way too long. Now let's get straight into the questions for today. Um, let's get straight into that. We still had the QR code up. Question 1 for you, and it's a bit of a bigger one, this one. Of course, we haven't had an update since, I believe, November. So how close are we to profitability and buybacks?
In short, we're very close, but let me dive into details. In November, when we presented to you the latest token holder or elaborate token holder update, we were covering about 70% of our costs. Since then, we got leaner and lowered our cost considerably. And major factors were leaning into AI, streamlining and speeding up processes and taking costs out of the system. And in addition, our revenues have been growing thanks to introduction of new features and frankly, your engagement. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Specifically, the things that really moved the needle were introduction of Earn Hub and recently the streak functionality, which is really unexpectedly for us. We rolled it out to a small sample, as we always do. We do an MVP, we do an A/B test, and the signal was so strong that we actually dropped some other things and focused a lot more effort on this because your feedback and your usage and your engagement is phenomenal. The other thing, of course, is Sweat Max, introduction of premium subscription. That is going great guns for us. And also, we are having a lot of commercial partnerships. So basically, short answer is we are hovering around break even, and the trend is really, really positive. From your side, where you can help is simple, regular engagement. Don't view those ads as evil. Unlike a lot of other businesses that put all the money in their pocket, this helps you to pay your blockchain fees and is helping us to drive our revenues up. Engage with quests, engage with lessons, and of course, use also all the trading functionality. So we are whisker away. I'm very, very tempted to make a commitment, but guys, this is our strategy. That's what we're aiming for, to grow and to become profitable and start buybacks. One thing or misconception around buybacks is that we don't do them. Well, in reality, we generate two types of revenues. We generate a lot of revenue in Sweat, and we generate revenue in other tokens and in fiat. Revenues in Sweat are very, very considerable, but we don't book it as revenues in the business because it goes straight into burn. So, it's not buyback where we earn dollars and buy Sweat off the market, but because there are a lot of charges in Sweat, this is also effectively a buyback because we forego revenue elsewhere. And those are substantial. And that we're burning 50 million Sweat every month, and some months a lot more than that.
Of course, there's very significant, I guess, token sinks in that sense, where you guys are able to, for example, purchase tickets in the prize draws, and spend when it comes to making a transaction as well, using your Sweat as gas. There's a lot of opportunities there for you to contribute in a sense as well as while just using your application. So keep that going. It's very, very nice to hear that we are, of course, on the right track there, Oleg. Thank you very much for the update. Now
My
let's
pleasure.
jumping into question 2. Does the team plan on improving liquidity on DEXs and near intents? Near intents, of course, being the in-app sort of feature that you guys are used to seeing with trading, bridging, swapping.
Yes, absolutely. There is a lot of work that is going into collaboration with near intents. And, this is from our side. But one thing that I want to flag also is that you can help this process and actually earn and, increase your own portfolio and earnings from your portfolio. If you contribute Sweat and NEAR into pool on RIA Finance that I've just checked, is paying more than 100% APY. That deepens liquidity available on not just RIA, but to near intents. So you can contribute, you can grease the wheels, so to say, and earn crazy APY on both Sweat and NEAR by contributing it into the pool. When you go to RIA, make sure that you look at all pools, and the bigger one is CLMM. Don't remember what this abbreviation stands for. It is bigger pool. There is, 50, 60K there, and it earns a lot higher APY for you.
That is great to hear, guys. You can, of course, contribute yourselves as well. And, we are always looking at improvements to making sure that the in-app feature is working as best as possible for you.
At the moment, it might be a little bit fiddly. You would need to go directly to RIA interface, but you'd be pleased to know that we are looking into bringing this functionality a lot closer to you and enabling it into Sweat Wallet.
I think that would be pretty awesome. It would really expose it to our millions of users, considering that many of them might not be comfortable, logging in with seed phrases and, whatever they may need on other platforms.
Indeed.
Now let's jump through. We are flying today into question 3, and that is, are there incentives planned for large holders of Sweat?
Yeah, this question has been popping up over the years because when we started, we copied some of the things that a lot smaller projects were doing, where they had multi-tier incentive and reward systems. We learned that it is not necessarily the right path for us, because if you create an exclusive 2 or 3 tier community, invariably information leaks. And while it is attractive for large token holders, it actually upsets and turns off the rest of you. When we were designing existing systems, step jars and boosters, we actually took this into consideration, because what we want to have is transparency and one set of rules for everybody. However, this design that we've created right now is absolutely democratic. Everyone gets exactly the same set of incentives. You put Sweat into a jar and you can earn 10% on free, 20% on Sweat Max, and we have boosters available. Specifically, this streak booster with 7% boost for 7 days and 77 Sweat increase in your step jar balance has been used by many, and large shareholders understand it extremely well, to basically consistently earn 27%. Naturally, if you have million or 5 million Sweat in your step jar, 27% in absolute terms favors large token holders. This achieves the objective of incentivizing everybody in a very transparent way, without having to have hush groups that you don't want information from which you don't want leak, because then you upset your other users. But existing set of incentives is working extremely well for absolutely everybody. And of course, if you don't stake and you don't walk, then you don't earn any incentives. So this way, we could kill 3 birds with 1 stone. We've created a set of incentives that helps us to achieve objective of making the world physically active and increase the value of physical activity. It addresses the need of large, sweat holders to feel that, kind of they are incentivized above and beyond. And naturally, this comes from their holding. And the third one is that we don't have multiple set of rules and creating 2 or 3 tier justice system within the community. Everyone's in the same boat, collect sweat, put it into jar, walk more, earn more.
I think that's a really key aspect, that there is equal rules for everybody. It is fair and it is transparent. While, of course, if you are a large holder of sweat, it might be worthwhile getting Sweat Max there to get the extra APY capacity there. And I think it'd be a great opportunity. So for sure, I think a key connection is making it your movement. If you're not walking, you're not earning, and it's all about the value of your movement. So make sure that you do walk, get your 20,000 steps in per day if you're a Sweat Max user. And of course, make sure you're using the streak boosters, because that is the highest one available right now. Going into question 4, what are your thoughts on adding more step tracking devices?
We've experimented with dozens over the years, and there was only one that really moved the needle and proven to be useful and secure, and it was Apple Watch. The issue with adding more step trackers, which I know a lot of apps just simply do because any step tracker can write into Apple Health Kit or into Google Fit on Android devices, but they are not secure enough. And when we looked into details, if we were to allow those steps to count, that would open massive gaping hole and would invite tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of fraudsters who would try to, fake activity, earn sweat. And these people are definitely not valuing their earnings. That would really drive emissions up, start increasing total token supply. And frankly, why would we incentivize fake movement? So without security, we cannot really add these devices, not because we don't want to, but because we want to protect the value of your movement. We keep track of everything that is happening in the space. If there is another device that would give security and reliability, but also will have massive user base, then we will for sure consider adding it.
One interesting thing that I recently saw, and exactly along the lines of safeguarding it against sort of bad actors, I guess, there was a website or an application that I saw, I think it's called Fake My Run, which allows you to create, an entirely faked step tracker, GPS logger, and everything you need to show off something that you might not have actually done. So this goes directly against our ethos, of course, making sure that you are actually moving to earn any sweat. So these safeguardings, these aspects need to be put in place to make sure that no sweat is minted without genuine physical movement behind it. And the space is evolving very, very quickly here.
Absolutely. And, another thing two things that I want to mention here. We've seen a lot of competitors emerging, and, it's not a secret that there was a StepN and, gazillion others who were a lot more liberal with their acceptance of steps. And honestly, the feedback that we're getting, because we, of course, dug into those users and asked them questions, and we realized that genuine people who walked very, very quickly realized that they were not the ones benefiting from the system. And that's the reason why user bases of these projects dwindle because they didn't pay enough attention to verification. They didn't remove bots. They didn't remove emissions that were based on fake information. To add to what Ashton said around Fake My Run, there is a website that you can immediately open right now that's called unfitbits.com, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a colorful website with videos that teaches you how to use different wearables and even phones in order to fake your activity. And there are some really entertaining ones, rotating your phones and wearables on drills and, et cetera, et cetera. When we were building our verification system at Sweatcoin, each and single one of those use cases had to go through testing to make sure that, your device counts steps, but none of them are getting converted. We do pay attention to security and to the value of your sweat to make sure that, you believe in us long-term rather than flash in the pan and, dead next month.
That's a really key point. I mean, if there's already, websites out there that show you how you could maybe cheat your phone, then it is, of course, something that we need to pay attention to and keep on top of. Now let's go on to, sorry, any final things? Let's go then. So final question for today, and unfortunately we don't have a bonus question, so this is the last one. Which user behavior has surprised you the most recently?
I think I alluded to it in answering first question. We created Earn Hub and added streaks to it without any pushes, any reminders, and rolled it out to a very, very small percentage of our user base to simply test that there are no bugs, that everything works as intended before kind of solidifying and hardening the feature and adding these sort of pushes and reminders. What really surprised me was that out of that test, we didn't just get thumbs up that everything's working as intended, but the number of people that in the first test, when feature was really raw, that completed 7-day streak. I did not expect that at all. I expected that maybe us internally, who are really focusing on the product, would be the only people that would get there. But we had thousands of people completing 7-day streak. Of course, some people fell off, and forgot to maintain their streak. And we always knew that we would add pushes and reminders that would give you a nudge. If you forgot to continue your streak today, then we can give you a nudge and say, don't lose your streak. Go and use Earn Hub to, continue your path to getting this streak booster with 7% APY boost for 7 days and 77 sweat added to your step jar balance. But without those pushes, thousands of people completing that streak, we really, really, really were surprised. And the result of it was we actually put more effort and more time into this. And you right now, if you update your app, you will see beefed up streaks with a lot smoother experience and pushes, reminders to make sure that you have a lot higher chances of completing the streak, even if you forgot to open Sweat Wallet yourself. They will be coming next. One thing to remind you of is it might be worthwhile going on checking on your device if notifications are enabled for Sweat Wallet. I can guarantee you we're not going to spam you. We know that pushes need to be relevant to you and valuable to you. We're not going to spam you with things that have zero value to you growing your balance and increasing the value of your physical activity.
I think a really awesome aspect that you touched on, and we've talked about it a lot in previous episodes, is building the MVP first. You know, we've mentioned that 1 in 7 features ultimately make it through in a previous episode, and this is a great example where user feedback really comes into play. What problems do you have? What, how can we fix it? And of course, what incentives work, and boosters have been amazing in that regard. And seeing you guys come back every day, completing your actions again as an MVP without push notifications, without any email reminders, or nothing like that, and still pulling through and thousands completing a 7-day streak. It is really surprising.
Yeah, the features like that send such a strong signal don't come every week. Frankly, they don't even come every month. So this was one of the examples where I was genuinely surprised. And I know from past experience that if the signal is this strong and so many of you have completed this streak even without any nudges, then when we roll it out to 100% and are able to nudge you if you forgot, the adoption of this functionality and therefore the value of your movement is going to go through the roof.
Absolutely. That brings us to the end of today. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for sending in your questions. As you can see, as always, there is a QR code up on the screen ready for you to scan, or the link in the description below. So please feel free to continue sending in any questions that you have, and look forward to the next special episode, episode 10, where Oleg and I will be together recording. Thank you very much. Oleg, any final words?
No, can't wait to be sharing a table or maybe a walk. I don't know. Let's, if we're in the same spot, maybe we can finally fulfill that dream of, having one of these sessions recorded while we're walking.
It would be ideal. Thank you, everyone. Get your steps in and have a great week ahead. Goodbye.
See ya.